Hey everybody, welcome to Song Shape Studios, where it's all about making your music work for you. In today's episode, we have an interview with my friend Dominique Ruiz. She's an independent musician and YouTuber based out of Nashville. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get started. All right, cool. So here we go. I'm with Dominique Ruiz. She's one of my friends from Nashville. We've written a lot and we've done some demos together. And I wanted to have her on and talk about her experiences being an independent musician and artist and what that's been like for her. So Dominique, how long have you been playing guitar?
So I started playing guitar in middle school, and I actually started on classical guitar. And both my parents play, so they helped me out. And then I really wanted to learn rock music, so I started like playing electric and just did it really for fun for a while. And yeah, now I'm here.
Yeah, very cool. Do your parents, do they like rock music or are they kind of steering away from it or?
Yeah, so my parents have what I would call eclectic taste in music, I guess. So they both like grew up in the 70s. So they love everything from like Fleetwood Mac to Led Zeppelin to John Denver. My mom loves Joni Mitchell. You know, they really love, both songwriters and rock bands. So I would definitely say that they're a fan of what we would call like bands and songwriters and kind of organic music. But at the same time, my mom introduced me to Lizzo and Dua Lipa. So,
Very cool.
they definitely, and my dad loves guitarists. He loves like Tommy Emmanuel, and Los Angeles Guitar Quartet. So, and like Latin jazz and stuff. So I think I definitely got some like different influences from both of them music wise.
Very cool. Do they still perform?
They don't. So they met in a band, but my dad is a doctor, my mom was a nurse, so they just kind of went full time with
Yeah.
that. And but my dad still practices almost every single day. Every time I call home, I hear him practicing, which is amazing. He's so good at guitar, and every time I go home, like I play with both of them. So it's really funny. My brother and sister play guitar too. Everyone in our family plays. So
Wow. That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. Who are some of your influences for guitar?
Yeah, so for guitar, definitely some of my first influences. Like I said, I did classical, so Bill Geiser and the Los Angeles Guitar Quartet, which I know not everyone listens to classical music, but they are brilliant guitarists and their fingers move crazy fast. And then when I got into electric guitar, my influences were people like Eric Clapton, John Mayer. I really loved guitarists who sang and write their own songs too, and kind of could play in bands and then were solo acts as well. So I think that's why I was so influenced by both of them. But also, like I said, Led Zeppelin. So Jimmy Page was a huge influence. And then Slash, I mean, Guns N' Roses, those parts are just so good.
Yeah, for sure. I was just teaching guitar lessons and we were going through some 80s rock and
Yeah.
yeah, we came across Guns N' Roses. So
Yes.
always some good stuff.
Always
Um,
good stuff.
yeah. So in Nashville, you're in a duo as
Yes.
well. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my duo, it's just our names. My bandmate's name is Andrea and I'm Dominique. So we're called Andrea and Dominique. And we've been together for a few years now. And we were both solo artists when we started out, and we started doing writers' rounds together in Nashville, which for those of you who don't know, which I actually really didn't know before I moved to Nashville, it's when songwriters play at, sometimes it's a cafe. We played at Starbucks. Sometimes it's a bar, sometimes it's a hotel, but they're usually more intimate, acoustic, settings for music. And you get up and you play a song, and there's 3 or 4 people in the round, and so you play a song, then the next person plays a song, the next person plays a song, and then you go back to the beginning, and then you get to play another song and then play a song. So it's a really fun way to get to perform with some of your songwriter friends and hear people's new music. So we would do that together, and I played guitar for Andrea because she played piano but not guitar. And we ended up just liking, performing together so much and writing together that we were like, hey, we should actually make a real band, a real duo. So yeah, it's been really fun. We write our music together. We co-write with other wonderful people such as yourself
Yeah.
in Nashville. And yeah, we're getting ready to release some new music, which is really exciting.
Very cool. I didn't know
Yeah.
Andrea played keyboard. I didn't know I thought she was just vocals.
I know a lot of people. So we were actually just filming videos today, and she just learned the new Adele song, like both on piano and vocals. And I was just thinking, I was like, I should post this to our Instagram page because I know so many people have come to. They're like, oh, does Andrea play an instrument? And she actually grew up playing classical piano, and so she's great at piano. But yeah, she hasn't done like a bunch of it on stage because it's hard to like lug a keyboard everywhere. And
Yeah,
so
it's one of the
yeah,
things. Yeah, my church they gutted an old piano and put
yeah,
just an electric piano on top of it. And it looks really cool on stage.
yeah,
But yeah, electric keyboard on stage just looks, I don't know, kind of weird.
yeah.
But having that
A
gutted
lot of
piano.
tours have that, like you're saying. We've looked at that, like the gut, which I mean, you have to, either keep it in one place. It's hard to lug that to a gig and lug it
Yeah.
back if you just have a Honda, or something. But it's definitely, it's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. That should be used some more. I think that's awesome.
I know.
Do you have any endorsements, and what's your dream endorsement?
Yes. So I actually got to do a photo shoot for Fender Play, which is really cool. It's Fender's like learning guitar program. It's a really, really cool thing. So that was really fun. And I've worked with Fender some. And then I have also worked with another company called Photo Savings, which I really love because they sell all types of guitars. So I've gotten like a couple like Ibanez's and got to test them out and do demos with that. I have a Dean guitar that I love. And a couple other ones. So it's really cool because I don't have to be stuck with one brand. And I like being able to play different genres of music. I like being able to, do some, classic rock, some modern rock, some country, some pop, some jazz, some R&B. So it's cool to be able to get those different flavors. And yeah, as far as dream endorsements go, just thinking about it, and this is a really weird one, but I really love this company called Dolls Kill. I'm actually ironically wearing the shirt right now. I didn't even plan that, but I love fashion. It's a secondary passion of mine, after music. And so it's definitely my dream to have a fashion endorsement with them because they make the coolest clothes and really cool stuff for stage. And yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool. When y'all perform, do you bring multiple guitars, or do you keep one throughout the whole set?
So it depends where we're playing. If we're doing festivals and opening for someone, a lot of times I will bring 2 or 3 guitars, a lot of times 1 acoustic and 2 electrics, which I feel like is a reasonable amount.
Yeah.
That's not too many. You can kind of have like a Strat and a Tele, or Les Paul and a Tele, like you can have a couple of different ones. But if we're playing in Nashville, honestly, I usually just bring one because there's no need, even for a 4-hour gig, to switch it out. I would love to. In fact, I just saw the Rolling Stones play at Nissan Stadium, and Keith Richards, I swear, played a different guitar for every song. I think I only saw him keep the same, well, he didn't keep the same guitar, but I saw, I think, 1 repeat, which was really cool, and his tone is insane. So I think if you have a guitar tech and you're able to bring all those guitars, that's really cool. But sometimes one can just get the job done.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I saw Goo Goo Dolls,
Yeah.
and different ends of the spectrum, Rolling Stones and Goo Goo Dolls, but I think all of his are in different tunings, or he switches up and uses open. So he has a different guitar for each song. And so every song was a switch back and forth.
Which totally makes sense. And that's why I don't like to play in different tunings. It's not that I don't like different tunings. I think they're amazing, but it's sometimes impractical, like for me, for playing, going back and forth. And especially when you're the one that has to kick off the song and you don't even have time to tune. And then now I've been playing, my guitars with Floated Roses. And I learned that you can't even go to drop D in that. So just like on the spot, I was like, oh, I guess I have to play this a different way. The song that I play, is Hell on Heels. Yeah. I was just like, oh, I can't play this the way that I know how to play this. So good thing I know how to play chords in different inversions, because it's going to sound different tonight.
Yeah, I dropped my bass down to B-E-A-D instead of E. So it's basically a 5-string. Yeah, it's a 4-string, but it's with the 5 strings.
That's what I was just going to say. I was like, but B.
Yeah, because I was having to do drop D for some songs. And so I just decided to like drop the whole thing down. But it was the same thing of like having to take a mental break and realize that I'm in a different tuning. I can't I have to figure out a new way to play every song. But now that I've been doing it for a few years, it's just kind of like second nature.
I have a lot of respect for that. I've only been playing the bass for 2 weeks. And so
oh, nice.
I could not imagine being able to do that at this point. I
what
still
kind of
get
bass
mixed
do you have?
So it's actually, speaking of basses, it's right here.
Oh,
it's
nice.
a Fender bass. It's very nice. It is a Fender Jazz, like, and it's the Daphne Blue. I think it's the 60s reissue.
Yeah,
So,
it's a great color scheme.
Yeah,
really cool.
I really like it. Like I said, I've never really played bass before, and this was like the first one that I've had. And it's been so much, but honestly, I'm a little bit shocked at how much I'm practicing the bass because it's just so fun to play.
Yeah, it's a different ball game. I mean, it's similar because it's the same like frets and everything, but playing it is more like being in tune with the kick drum and like the beat than it is just like 8th note or 16th note rhythm. Are you playing it live? Or are you doing demos with it?
I'm doing demos with it right now. And yeah, I just wanted to learn it for fun and definitely for demos because I do guitar on my own demos. And I've been using like a synth bass or kind of like, you know, a fake electronic bass. But I wanted to be able to A, put a real bass on my recordings, and B, I felt like if I learned more about how to play the bass and that style, that it would just, you know, help me. And like you're saying, it's so interesting because I thought, oh, this won't be that hard because I already know the notes of the guitar, you know, so I'm starting there, and I use my right hand and my left hand, but it's a totally different ball game. It's really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So switching gears into the writing section,
writing.
So which PRO are you with and why did you choose that one? And so for anyone who doesn't know, PRO stands for Performance Rights Organization, and they handle writers' royalties and some publishing royalties for songwriters. So which one are you with and why did you choose that one?
So I am with BMI. And to be perfectly honest, I signed up for BMI when I was 18 because I looked at their website and they had Taylor Swift and Eminem, and those are two of my favorite artists of all time.
Yeah.
And so I thought, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me, which when you don't know anything about PROs or money collection, then that's, you know, a great thing. It's a great way to choose by other people you like. But the wonderful thing is that after I actually signed up to be with BMI and I moved to Nashville, I found some really great people there. So I played like the BMI Key West Songwriters Festival, and I played some of like the showcases in town at different venues. And they've been really great at helping us like book some gigs and listen to our songs and stuff. So yeah, it's really cool. They used to have this program. I know everything's weird with COVID, but where it was like every Thursday you could go in and you could bring demos and you could just, someone would listen to them, you know, and give you feedback, which, you know, being someone new to town when I first moved, I felt like was invaluable for me. So
yeah, definitely. I did a few of those too. Yeah, so they're really great. I just chose BMI because everyone that I met when I first moved to town was BMI. So I was like, I'll go with BMI.
See,
I knew nothing about it.
Taylor Swift, Eminem, everyone you know.
But they're a great company. And I feel like they're the most social one in Nashville. Like they have like the rooftop parties. And I feel like ASCAP and SESEAC never had parties or any kind of like networking thing. And BMI was really good about that.
Yeah.
And so with your duo, which distributor are y'all with and why did you choose that one?
So we're with Distrokid right now. And I've really been loving them, especially every time I've needed customer service, they've helped, which you wouldn't think that you need, but you know, sometimes you want to change the artwork on your album, or you change your band name, or you want to put it up or take something down. Like sometimes there ends up, you know, being things where you need to ask someone, get in touch with a human. And I feel like they've been really great. But the reason why I picked them is we were with CD Baby and we tried a couple other companies before. But honestly, Distrokid just had the best royalty rates. And we felt like, you know, these seem to be all fairly comparable to each other, except what rate you actually get for your streaming. And like I said, and then since then I found other things about the company that I really, really love. But I picked them because we would get, the most back for our Spotify streams and
Yeah, for
everything
sure.
else. Because I mean, we all know streaming is such a challenging field these days. And, being a songwriter, there've been so many hit songwriters and, artists with millions of views, billions of views who have said, I only made $5,000 off of this
Yeah,
#1 Billboard song, so I know they've been trying to figure out, which is great. I'm glad that, they're trying to make change and forward progress and figure out the new world. But in the meantime, it's definitely great when you can get, as many of your royalties collected as possible.
for sure. Yeah, that's what I use too, is Distrokid. They've been really great. I like their splits option
Yes.
where, yeah, I think that's brilliant.
Yes.
That's the main reason I chose them, because when I collab with other artists, we can split it. And then as a producer, I also take producer points, and that comes from the team split within Distrokid. And I feel like they were the first, maybe, if not, I don't think they're the only one right now, but I think they were.
We had a friend who told us about that, and that was part of the other reason why I picked them, because I was like, I can actually list our co-writers and producer and, give everyone credit. And that's a really cool thing.
It is. It's awesome. And how long, so you've been playing guitar for a while. How long have you been writing music?
So I've been writing music almost my whole life. I started taking piano lessons actually first when I was 8 years old. And I had a piano teacher that was a clown, and he just taught piano lessons like on the side. So he wasn't the most traditional teacher. And so he actually had me write songs as my piano homework. So rather than learning scales and arpeggios on piano, he would have me compose things. And so I think just from there, when you're a kid, it's creative and it's fun. And so, yeah, I started, writing melodies and writing songs. And then in high school, I started taking songwriting a lot more seriously. And I got like a couple books on songwriting. I got like the book that they use at Berkeley, and starting like trying to figure out how to write better lyrics, because you're like listening to your favorite artists. And I'm like, how do I write a song like, John Mayer? How do I write a song like Taylor Swift? How do I write a song like the Foo Fighters? And so I just started trying to learn more chord progressions and trying to get better at lyrics and figure all of that out. So, yeah.
Very cool. And then when you're writing, do you hear melody first or do you hear chords first in your head?
So that's so funny. So I don't think, only one time have I ever heard chords in my head. I always hear melody first. Sometimes lyrics, but I would say mostly melody, because especially, coming from a guitarist and coming from, an artist who I've worked with different like producers, and then I've started producing my own songs, sometimes you'll have a melody in a song and you can put different chords under it that, aren't the same chords that you wrote. And so I feel like for me, once I started seeing those things happen in the studio, I felt like, oh, chords aren't the most important part of a song, because wait, those can change as they go along. But a lot of the times, if you have a catchy melody, you have a catchy melody, and you don't want to mess with that. Otherwise people won't remember it.
For sure.
Yeah.
And what writer role do you think you fit into in the room? I feel like there's melody
people have their places. It's definitely weird because I'm both an artist and a writer. So some days I'm writing for other people and their projects, and some days I'm writing for my own project. So it does depend on that. But I would say because I play guitar, a lot of times people want me in the room because I play guitar and I write melodies, and I can give you different chord options. So I would say the melody person in the room.
Sweet. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Thanks.
And then, and then
I would say you're everything, by the way.
What'd you say?
I would say you're everything, by the way. You're brilliant at both lyrics and melody. You're really good at both.
Well-rounded.
You are.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. So the last question, what advice would you give to your younger self, and what do you wish you knew when you first started out?
Yeah, so the advice that I would give to my younger self, I think when I was in high school, all I really wanted was a record deal. And it wasn't that I didn't like love music and do it for the joy of it. I just think I always thought, oh, someone will come along and then like help make me better, help make me a star. And then looking back now, I wish I had just continued to focus on my craft and get better at everything. Like I wish I had learned how to record in high school, which I did. I did start doing it a little bit, but I kind of just gave it up, and I wish I'd really stuck with it. So I would definitely tell my younger self to just keep getting better at everything, keep getting better, you know, at your instrument, at your vocals, delivering a story, writing a song, because I think those are the things that at the end of the day, you know, when you see big acts, you know, whether it's a legacy act like the Rolling Stones or maybe a newer act like Bruno Mars, or, you know, anyone that's coming up, it's like, why do you like them? You like them because they're really great at what they do. And so I think everything else can kind of come and go, you know, the labels and the marketing, and that's all great and that's all important, but I think we should control what we're in control of. So I would definitely tell myself that. And then it can be hard to stay disciplined too when you're in charge of your own, you know, career and craft. So I would say to myself, hey, like give yourself a goal and stick with it. So right now, for example, I'm trying to say, hey, I'm going to write 3 songs every week, and I have to hit that goal. So some days you go through the week and it's Friday and you're like, oops, I didn't, you know, go through that. But, you know, if you have a day job and maybe music doesn't get to be your full-time thing, or, you know, if you're making videos or playing gigs or whatever, things can go by the wayside. So I think it's always really good when you work backwards. You say, hey, what are my goals from the year? Okay, make little goals, you know, month goals, week goals, and then, you know, it's really crazy how before you know it, a couple months will pass by and you'll say, wow, I actually wrote all these songs, and hey, I actually really like 3 of these, you know, 20 songs. I'm really glad I did that.
Yeah, definitely. I think quantity brings quality. It's like the more you write, the better you get, the better results you get.
Yeah. And honestly, like I've been watching a lot of masterclass lately, and I like love that, you know, app, their program. And I've been watching a lot of screenwriters on there, which you would think would maybe not have so much in common with songwriting, but I think it has a lot. And, you know, Judd Apatow and Shonda Rhimes, they talk about exactly that. They were like, they made it their job before it was their job, and they were disciplined in writing. And for Judd, you know, they both say, because they're screenwriters, like, we're going to write this many pages a day, and then we're going to write this many scripts a month, you know, and they're like, most people in the film industry don't do that. I think it's the same with songwriting. It's easy to say, you know, when I first started out, I would just wait for inspiration. And the only thing that kind of forced me to finish songs, you know, sometimes I would just be stuck by inspiration. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to finish it now. But I was like once every couple months, you know? And so I started learning how to be disciplined about it in songwriting class. And like you're saying, the more you do it, the stronger that muscle gets. And then you're like, oh, now I find myself to be inspired more often.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was lucky in high school. I took a creative writing class, and it was at 8 a.m. And the professor on the first day was like, a lot of y'all only write when you're inspired, or you write late at night. He's like, this class is 8 a.m. every day. You have to be inspired at 8 a.m. So it taught me to break out of those like waiting for inspiration and just make it happen.
And that's so good. And I feel like I didn't have that in high school, and I definitely wish I had, because that's such a good lesson. And like I said, and I feel like it really shows in your writing, you know, because you are such a great lyricist, and you are really good at, you know, showing up, whether it's at 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. or 5 p.m., you know, you're here ready for it and on. So that's really cool.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for talking and sitting down. It was good to see you again.
Good to see
we'll have
you.
to get another write on the books and get that set up.
Yeah, that would be great. Can't wait.
Cool. Well, I'll talk to you later.
Yay, sounds good. Bye.
All right, bye.